Jerry Colangelo was here with us here on Tiki and Tierney, CBS Sports Radio. Jerry, wearing a new hat. He's with the Sixers, chairman of basketball ops, and he's a special advisor as well.
Jerry, when we consume this from the outside, it kind of gets positioned that other owners around the league were not content with the sagging revenues of the 76ers, and it prompted the commissioner, Adam Silver, to reach out to you and say, look, get this turned around. We need Philly to make money. How did this actually come about?
Well, first of all, I have conversation with Adam Silver quite often because we've been not only friends, we've been, working in the same foxhole for a lot of years in the NBA. And so I'm aware through conversations with owners who have called for a little bit of advice and opinion, and I'm happy to do that. I consider myself a lifer. I have a great passion for the game. I'll help wherever I can, and I mean that sincerely. And so I'm sure there was conversation that Adam had with owners, and I assume with Josh Harris. And so when Josh called me, he made it very clear he was calling because he wanted help, and he felt that I had the experience and expertise to do just that.
Now, you talk about interacting on a daily basis, really, with Brett Brown, the head coach of the 76ers. What's his psyche like right now? Because this has got to be frustrating for him with not spending on free agency, not really building to win in the short term, but it feels like, as BT was alluding to, in a long-term plan. Process, it's called down there.
Well, first of all, I said at the press conference, I like him a lot. I think he's a very competitive guy. I think he's an outstanding coach, and he's under great duress. I mean, every time you go out on the field to compete or on the floor to compete, you want to have a chance to win. And the odds are stacked against you when you don't have horses. And so, he's fragile from that standpoint. I mean, that does – I remember our expansion team with the Suns back in 1968. We won 16 games, lost 66, and then lost a flip for Jabbar, after the season. And then what happened? I went out and signed Connie Hawkins. I traded for Paul Silas. I drafted Neil Walk. And we went from 16 to 39, and I coached the team the second half of the season. That was the biggest turnaround at that time in the history of the NBA. So sometimes you deal with the cards that are dealt, and you do the best you can, and then you be strategic about the moves that kind of make you competitive. And he's anxious to become competitive. So am I.
Yeah. I like him, too. I totally agree, Jerry.
Yeah.
I think he's a good man. I know he's a basketball mind, and I just hope he doesn't run out of patience, to be honest with you.
Yeah. You know, he grew up in a basketball family.
I know.
His dad had great influence on him, and, of course, Popovich, a great influence on him down in San Antonio for the years he was an assistant. And we, USA Basketball, competed against him when he was running the Australian national team. And so I had respect for him. And spending time with him over the last over 24 hours was, one, enlightening. It just enhanced my thoughts about him and my opinions about him. And I think one of my roles right now, under these circumstances, I need to stay close to him.
There you go. Jerry, question for you. I think you laid it out, and it's pretty obvious with the draft and, getting high picks and going from there. I'm curious about the free agency. What's your view? And I would imagine maybe it's a little different from, what it was before you entered the organization, because I was crunching some numbers here, and I looked ahead to 2017, 2018, and just for our audience's purposes, in a couple of years, the Clippers, even down the road, have $71 million committed. The Cavs have nearly 50. The Sixers in 2017 have $1.1 million committed now, which is amazing flexibility if you choose to spend it. Where's the free agency? Where does that set on the pecking order of importance combining with the draft?
Well, let me make a statement first, and I think this gets lost in the shuffle.
Okay.
One is the rules have changed dramatically from 10, 20 years ago, where you had an opportunity to make a quick hit in terms of free agency. I signed the first unrestricted free agent in history back in 87, 88 when I signed Tom Chambers as an unrestricted free agent right after we had traded our best player, Larry Nance, to Cleveland for a young guard sitting on the bench, Kevin Johnson, a backup center in Mark West, and a journeyman small forward in Ty Corbin, and a first. And that first, we drafted Dan Marley. We went from 28 to 55 in 1 year and the conference finals. That's almost impossible today. It really is, because the rules are in free agency really give the team that has the player almost every opportunity to keep the player. That restricts movement in terms of free agency.
You think that's good or bad, Jerry? Is that good or bad for the NBA?
Well, I mean, as a guy who likes to make deals and have a chance to be, go out and compete, I like flexibility. I mean, that's one of the reasons I think I had success over the years, because I was always willing to take a shot. I don't want to say a riverboat gambler, but I would say I've never been afraid to fail, so therefore I'm out there. And now you're restricted. I think it really handicaps teams that are trying to come back. That's why teams who lose stay down for a long time.
Yeah,
one way you have a chance to come back realistically is the draft.